G'day guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I have yet another movie review. This movie is a found footage horror film from Australia, English language, released in the year 2013, directed by Dale Trott, and this film is called Beckoning the Butcher. So Beckoning the Butcher starts off in a documentary style, and you've got these people who are trying to come to terms with what's happened to a group of amateur ghost hunters. So on this particular occasion, these ghost hunters, the main character is an internet sensation. He has got a cult following on the internet, and lately his projects have been anticlimactic, so there's no real activity, and he starts to believe that maybe his fan base are getting tired of this. So this is until the main character's brother comes up with a ritual called Beckoning the Butcher. So he's found this on the internet, and it really strikes interest in the main character, so he decides to take his friends to a secluded farmhouse in order to try and beckon the butcher. And this, they go there, they spend the night, and then the next day they've vanished off the face of the earth. So this documentary crew were interviewing the people. They got a psychic, the main character's brother, and a police officer who are trying to come to terms with what's happened. They have their theories, but the common theory is linked to the entity that they summoned. So they think that maybe that has something to do with their whereabouts. So whether or not that's the case is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Beckoning the Butcher. If you're a fan of found footage horror films, I would say check this out, because it does emulate what the feeling was in Blair Witch. But if you're not a fan of found footage horror films, and you're one of these people who say, oh, not another found footage horror film, but yet you go and see it anyway, then this is not going to win you over, so I would say stay away. So Beckoning the Butcher does have its problems, but I think it does apply to hardcore found footage horror fans. So this movie, as I said, it does have a stronger resemblance to Blair Witch as opposed to that of Paranormal Activity. Now the whole gimmick to found footage, now what Blair Witch created so well was the feeling of amateur film work. And that's something that is lacking in mega budget horror films of this nature, is because the camera work is so slick, the actors are from other films, so you automatically have that sense of amateur film work out the window. Therefore it doesn't create everything that is found footage. And I think found footage is a place for lazy horror filmmakers to get a quick buck, because they're flogging a cash cow and basically they're not trying. So I actually think that found footage can be very effective when it wants to be, but it can also be a recipe for laziness from directors who are just there to make jump scares and not really create an environment. And that's everything that Blair Witch did so well, is create the environment, create the suspense, create the atmosphere that slowly creeps up on you. And when I first watched it as a kid, I thought to myself, is this real? I had to double check to make sure it wasn't real, because it just felt so real. It's because it didn't have all these jump scares, and it just slowly builds up. You've got these people in the woods who are documenting stuff going on, and it just slowly gets worse and worse. And as I said, there's no jump scares every second minute. Therefore, it creates such an impending sense of doom, and it's done in a very realistic way because of the low budget feel. It had a very grainy feel, it had a very bad quality sort of vibe to it, which really contributed to the fact that what it wants to be, and what found footage is amateur film work. So I think low budget films really can capture that essence a lot better than films like Paranormal Activity, and I actually feel that found footage belongs to the lower budget stuff. So Beckoning the Butcher comes along, and yes, it's nothing that's going to blow you out of the water with originality, but it emulates the vibe that Blair Witch had. It has a very slow start. It has a very impending sense of doom that slowly creeps up on you. The setting of the farmhouse was great. I thought it was very secluded and very eerie. You've got the characters who are not very, they're not unlikable, just like the Blair Witch. You think to yourself, these could pass as real people. They're not exaggerated. The characters don't need depth. It actually feels like you're just going along on the ride from what you're seeing. You don't need an in-depth history lesson on each character to feel sorry for them. The fact is that they're not annoying. There's one character in the film that was slightly annoying, but the rest of them actually felt like genuine friends, that felt like they had a connection. I thought the chemistry between them all was very, very good. And the slow build-up to bad things happening is what really reminded me of the Blair Witch. So, although Beckoning the Butcher isn't anything brilliant, I still think it's worth it if you're a fan of the Blair Witch, because it has that low budget feel, it has a genuine feeling that these people are real, and I just thought the impending sense of doom that slowly creeps up on you, and before you know it, you're becoming creeped out, and it's just very subtle, and it doesn't try so hard. And Beckoning the Butcher, you could tell that this is made by a horror fan for horror fans. So if you're a fan of the subgenre, you're a die-hard fan like I am, Beckoning the Butcher isn't as bad as you would think. Now, you'll see the trailers and you think to yourself, you've seen it all before, but as I said, it doesn't try too hard. It's not hitting you with cheap tricks. There is some slight imagery towards the end that was a little bit off, but that's few and far between, so I thought it all built up to a very satisfying climax. And I like the documentary style approach as well. It felt like, although it wasn't an original concept, at least the director was trying to do something different. He was trying to make something, and you felt that he was proud of what he was doing. He wasn't just flogging a cash cow like the high budget films do. And so you've got the actors who did a fantastic job. I thought the script was very subdued, very subtle, very realistic. As I said, nothing's exaggerated to the point where it feels like a movie for entertainment's sake. It actually feels like you've got some amateur footage and you're actually watching it unfold before your very eyes. So it emulates the feeling that Blair Witch had, although Blair Witch is a much better film, but at least Beckoning the Butcher is going back to the roots of what makes a found footage film, and for that I really appreciate it. And so after all that considered, I was umming and ahhing between 2.5 stars and 3, but I'm going to give it 3 because it does have attention to detail. I thought, although it's not brilliant, it still brings to life everything that is found footage. It understands what found footage is, and it's not trying to pull any cheap punches. So I would recommend it if you're a fan of the found footage subgenre. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.